Shavua Tov, a good vach, everyone. I hope you had an amazing Shabbos, and may we have an amazing week and month and year and life. Mashiach should come quickly. May we all be inscribed for a good year. It's time to say that. Oopsie daisy. As we read in today's Torah reading, where Moshe comments, why are we so beloved of Hashem? It has more to do with Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov than with us. It also mentions our stiff-neckedness. Obviously, there's something about the Jews being stubborn, and there's something about Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov being committed to educating their children and transmitting their strong connection to Hashem successfully to their children, as obviously they've been doing for over 3,500 years. In that line of the commitment to transmitting, I want to share a beautiful story that I heard this week. It didn't happen this week. It happened a long time ago. It happened in the late 70s, early 80s. It was a time when Russia was trying to convince the world how open they were to respecting and allowing people to have freedom of religion. And therefore, they invited a bunch of rabbis from Israel to come and visit various communities in Russia and see the synagogues that are open and somehow fool them or convince them that religion is alive and well in Russia. Rabbi Lau, the previous chief rabbi of Israel, not to be confused with his son, the present chief rabbi of Israel, who's an amazing personality, famous child survivor of Auschwitz and the death camps. He was one of the rabbis invited for this journey. And near the end of the trip in Russia, in a synagogue in Moscow, I believe it was the famous Lubavitcher Shul, after that visit, he was approached by an elderly Jew who somehow found his hotel room and came quietly and burst into tears and begged and pleaded with the rabbi to save him, to get him to Israel. He's lived here so long. His wife already passed away, and it's been so difficult to do anything as a religious Jew. He's begging Rabbi Lau to help him make it to Israel. It's been his lifelong dream. After calming him down and talking to him, etc., the rabbi said, I will do everything in my power to straighten out the paperwork and allow you to come to Israel, perhaps even join us on our return, which is going to be in just a few days. And they're talking, and he's filling him in on his life, a life pretty miserable, full of self-sacrifice, full of challenges and difficulties. And after an hour or two or three, it's time for them to part, and they'll be in touch. As he's about to leave, this older gentleman turns to Rabbi Lau and he says, you know what? Forget the whole thing. I'm not going to leave with you. I can't leave with you. The rabbi is like blown away and confused. What do you mean? Here, I'm willing to put myself to work and to do my best, and now all of a sudden you're changing your song? What do you mean? What happened? What changed in the course of our conversation? And the man very emotionally said, my wife is dead. We were blessed with one daughter. That daughter married a non-Jewish man, and she has two young boys. And every Sunday, I get to spend time with my two grandsons. And I scrimp and save the entire week so that Sunday when they come to visit me, I can have some tasty food for them. I think his version of tasty food was herring. And it's my chance to speak to them about who they are, who we are as Jewish people, and to try to kindle and keep burning bright this flame of Judaism. And as I was getting up to leave, I thought to myself, if I leave, if I will go to Israel with you, my grandchildren will be lost to the Jewish people. And therefore, as desperate as I am, as much as I would love for my own benefit to go to Israel, I can't do this. And that was the last that Rabbi Lau saw this guy. He said, please forget the plan. I'm not going with you. Years go by, maybe 15 or more years, and Rabbi Lau And then now he's the chief rabbi. Then he was the chief rabbi of Tel Aviv. He's now the chief rabbi of the country, and he was a great and popular, he is a great and popular speaker. And he was speaking at an army base before a holiday. I don't know the occasion. And this story came to his mind, and he was speaking about the permanence and dedication of the Jewish people to transmit what's important to us. And he decided to bring up this story. He mentioned this story, how he was in Russia in a very, very difficult time for a religious Jew, and how someone came to beg him to help him to go to Israel. And then at the last minute, he changed his mind because he felt the need, the urgency, the obligation to remain and teach his grandchildren. A soldier stood up and he said, I'm one of those two grandchildren. Obviously, the Zayda was successful in transmitting to his grandsons who they were and where they are, and from Russia they made it to Israel to be part of the Jewish people. So hopefully we'll all do the same, make sure we're transmitting what's important to us. May Hashem help. Mashiach should come fast, rebuild the temple. Have a great week.